All right, it says we're live. Wahoo! There we go, ladies and gentlemen. 73-year-old got us started. All right. It says go live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Go live. Go live. Go live. Go live. We had a title. Okay. There we go. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about metabolic health and hope. And so there we go. I'm George, and wonderful thing about the whole wide world is that I am passionate about metabolic health education focused on chronic disease, intervention, and reversal of chronic diseases. And so we're going to talk about that. And just to give you some evidence of what I talk about, that I know what I'm talking about is because that's me. That's me. Headed into October of this last year. And maybe you can identify with that. Maybe you know someone that looks like that. And here's what I am now. So comparison between me and some of my past photos and where we're at today. So it's getting towards spring, getting towards wedding season, getting towards summer swimming season, and I think I'm ready to go. What do you think? Oh, and by the way, all of that's natural. All that's natural. This is me as well. This is putting on a suit that my mother bought me in 1970. So this suit is probably older than most everybody on here. It was from Osborne's in Sioux Falls. And yeah, I'm surprised I have it too, but I'm more surprised I actually fit into it. Now, these pants were right at 32. And I've got a picture I'll show you that's just recently done. This is me in size 30 pants. 30-inch waist, ladies and gentlemen, 73 years old. All natural, no shots, no pills. Yeah, that's what I did. All natural, no shots, no pills. That's what we did. So we're talking about that, and hopefully if Andrea can get on here, that'll be awesome because she has a story to tell too. But we're going to talk about the whole idea of chronic diseases that all relate to what's called insulin resistance. Now, here's the deal. If I say insulin resistance, what most people think is that, and I see Andrea over here, so I got to see if I can figure out how to get her in here, is that most people think insulin resistance, they go like, yeah, but I'm not diabetic. Well, that's not the thing. Diabetic, that word insulin, and all of a sudden everybody thinks, well, diabetes. Well, no, that's too short of a thought. That's too short of a thought. Because understand that where we say insulin, we're talking about a hormone that affects everything. And its ratio, ladies and gentlemen, its ratio is actually a different factor. Diabetes is one disease, one chronic symptom of insulin resistance. It's a sign and signal of it. But you could have insulin resistance for a decade or two before you even realize it. And there's all these signs of insulin resistance. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But it doesn't mean that you're diabetic. Oh my goodness gracious, because that's not it. It's the hormone is involved, but everybody thinks it's only diabetes. No, do you have high blood pressure? Do you have belly fat? Do you have skin tags? Do you have darkening of the skin under the arms, behind the neck, on the knuckles, even on the feet? Do you have eye floaters? Do you have foggy mind? Do you have constant snacking? Do you have any itises, bursitis, any itises at all, arthritis, joint pain? right? Bursitis, tendonitis, itises, even autoimmune disease, those are all related to insulin resistance. ED, erectile dysfunction, PCOS, Alzheimer's, obesity, childhood obesity, fatty liver. Children have fatty liver. When I was a kid, if someone had a fatty liver, they were what? Yeah, they were drinking such that they got a fatty liver. That's how we called it. But now, kids under 10 have fatty livers. So that's just an idea of what's going on in terms of when I talk about insulin resistance. It's not diabetes alone. So please take that out of the vocabulary. It's a chronic metabolic disease. And the core, at the root core, is insulin resistance. So when I mean the root core, guys, I mean this. I'm referring to a dandelion. Now it's spring here in Illinois, and I'm talking to you from Illinois. And in springtime, we have these things called dandelions. Anybody ever deal with dandelions ever? Sure you did. Mom said to go pick them, and you did what? There were all these flowers, right? And so when you figured if you got the flowers, you killed the dandelion, didn't you? Think about it. You thought you got it. But it only took one. It only took one, and you got a yard full of them again, didn't you? Unless you get to the root cause, of this dandelion, you're not going to get rid of it. And that's the same thing as when we start talking about this. Insulin resistance is at the core, the center of all of these items, all of them and more. And I had all of these. I had all of these symptoms. I was peeing every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, going into October 24th. I had skin tags. I didn't know, and you guys will probably be blown away when I tell you what my lab results were from there. But I don't have migraines. I don't have them. For some reason, back when I turned 13, when I turned 13, I sat on the stoop and I said, you know what? I don't believe in headaches. I'm going to give mine to the Chinese. There's a gazillion of them. They won't notice 2 more headaches. I have not literally had a headache since I was 13. I just don't believe in them. So I'm an oddball that way. But I do know people get debilitating migraines, dementia. Did you know that 13% of dementia, Alzheimer's, is misdiagnosed and is actually related to the liver? Misdiagnosed. If they would treat those people based on insulin resistance on their liver, they would not be in that home. That's clinical proven. Research that was just out the last 2 weeks. Osteoarthritis, childhood obesity. Man, when we were kids, there was not anybody large with gravity challenges that were teenagers. Just didn't exist. Now go out and look at the playground. Or go to any of the large supermarkets where you see people walking around with sodas draped over the sidewalls of their carts. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Their cart is loaded with sodas and chips and all the other things, right? Childhood obesity, fatty liver, arthritis, Alzheimer's, erectile sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is a really fancy word that a lot of people that are getting the shot, they're taking that shot in their stomach for the feel great, look soon, fast. They're suffering from sarcopenia because about 40% of the weight that they're losing is muscle. Muscle loss. Muscle loss is the last thing you want to lose because muscle, well, let me ask, why would you not want to lose muscle? Well, because muscle uses up 80% of the blood glucose, the blood sugar, the glucose. It's the best fat-burning, sugar-burning organ you have is your muscle. Why would you want to decrease it by 40%? And then when those people stop that, guess what? As they go back up, they don't have the muscle. Where are they going to get it from? They're not. Have you ever been told to move more, eat less, and you still get fatter, heavier around the belly? That's insulin resistance. Are you getting it yet? It's insulin resistance. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But see, they're just the symptoms. They're just the symptoms, and we need to get to the root cause. The root cause of the dandelion is the same as the root cause of all of these and other diseases. You know. Everybody wants to talk about calories. Everybody wants to make this bad guy, that bad guy. No. It's all about that. It's all about insulin resistance. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But real quickly, I want to tell you a little bit of my story and why I'm even just ranting and raving about this stuff. Is because, this was me. I've been there. I've been up and down. Has anybody else been on a yo-yo dieter? Been up and down and sideways and backwards and forwards? I have been on every thing I think known to mankind. Now, I understand the yo-yo because I'm Filipino, and that's yo-yo was a weapon of war, a hunting tool that was used and was brought to the United States, and Duncan Toys took it, and then everybody had to walk the dog and the sleeper and all that if you're old enough to know what a yo-yo is. But in dieting, we've gone up and down and up and down and up and down. Have you ever been like that? Has that ever happened to any of you? Certainly has for me. So let me tell you a real quick story is that in 2019, in March of 2019, I couldn't read the highway signs. The big highway signs up there, I couldn't really read them. And so I'm looking at trying to figure out what's going on. So I called Dr. Google. And Dr. Google kept saying about blood sugar, blood sugar, blood sugar. And I'm going, what the heck, blood sugar? No, there's no way it's blood sugar. And it said blood sugar. And I go, no. Because nobody in my family, guys, nobody in my family on either side of the ocean has ever had any history of blood sugar issues, right? None. No blood sugar whatsoever. So with that going in mind, I finally said, okay, fine. So I went and I got one of those sticker things, when you stick yourself and you read the number to see what your blood sugar is. So I just figured I was going to get some number. Well, my number came back high. And I don't mean a low high. I mean, it was high. It was so high, it was unmeasurable on that portable device. So I freak out. This was April 6th. I freak out. Of course, like a guy, I don't tell anybody because that's just we don't do. I mean, Dr. Google said, look this up, and I did it in secret. I went bought, like, you'd think I was buying some kind of contraceptive or something like that and hiding it from everybody and stabbed myself in blood. Oh, my goodness. I went home and I had an inventory clearance. I took everything out of the pantry, the refrigerator. Now, understand, I love to cook. One of my favorite dishes is coquille Saint Jacques. I make it with duck yolks. And anyway, it's a whole other thing. That's a whole other show. But anyway, so I got rid of everything and I called the doc up and I said, I need an appointment. I just need a little physical. I didn't tell him what was going on. I said, I need to get a physical. And I scheduled for the 17th of April because that was, after tax day, right? So I went on the 17th, and I'm sticking myself all the time I get in there. And I go in on the 22nd, after my blood was drawn. And I go in and I sit down with my doctor and I said, how'd we do? And he goes, well, Villia, you didn't set a record, but you came close. I go, what record? He says, well, your blood glucose. Yeah, okay. Your A1C. Okay, what's my A1C? Well, it was like 13, 4, 14, whatever. It was a high number. I mean, insane. And I was 328, I think, at the time. And I says, okay, so what's that mean? He says, well, I'm going to put you on 4 diabetic medications and a heart stat. And I go, no, you're not. He goes, what do you mean, no, you're not? He says, no, you're not. I did some research, and I found this program. And this was 2019. And they have, I saw some TED Talks, and Dr. Sarah Hallberg, who's deceased now. I really like her. She's a great girl. They have a program called Verta Health, and which is now is the longest running testing program and research program on type 2 diabetes. It proves that they proved that people say on that protocol that over a 70% success ratio getting reversing type 2 diabetes. So I went in, I said, I'll go into that program and I'll come back in 9 days. We'll see what my blood results are, but I'll take whatever little you've got for me. So they gave me 1,000 milligrams of I'm not going to say the word because I get in trouble if I mention certain things, but meatmen, and I'll take it. So I started taking that, and inside of 45 days, they had me all the way off of it. When I got my blood check at 90 days, I was already under pre-diabetic stages. But the program, which is a great program and fairly pricey, but I had to weigh my food. I have 2 digital scales and cups and spoons, and no, and it was unsustainable. Great program, unsustainable. So fast forward to 2024. So I was only on it for maybe 2 years and I was off. So go fast forward to 2024, October 24th of 2024, I was peeing like a racehorse every 2 hours. Like I said, I had skin tags. It looked like it was a hydra. I was budding everywhere. My back acne was insane. I have scars, floaters, brain fog, some high blood pressure. Again, no medications, whatever. Anyway, so I went in and to the clinic. And this is a different clinic. I went in and had my blood drawn. At 2 p.m, I had been fasting. It was 2 p.m, I had fasted. And so got all that drawn. I left. And unbeknownst to me, the rest of that afternoon, the laboratory where the blood was being evaluated was frantically trying to get a hold of me. The clinic, they call it the clinic, and the clinic is frantically trying to get a hold of me all afternoon. When was the last time a laboratory called you and said, hey, we need to talk to you? Well, I was playing golf, so I'm not going to answer my phone. So the next day I called the clinic and I go, hey, what's up? I see you calling. Oh my, how are you? Are you dizzy? Are you sweaty? Are you nauseous? Are you fainty? And I go, no, I'm fine. Double vision. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Says, well, you need to get here right away. I go, all right. So I went down, drove down to the clinic. It's about a 20-minute drive. Walked in, and you would have thought I was in ER. I mean, in the ER, and they're rushing me in. This is a clinic. This is a nice lobby, quiet place. They are like, get me into the room, set me down. Are you okay? Are you dizzy? Blurry vision, down in balance, high blood pressure, anything? No, I'm fine. He says, what's up? Well, we were trying to get a hold of you yesterday. I go, yeah, I was playing golf. I don't answer my phone when I'm playing golf. No, what's up? And they go, well, your blood glucose and your A1C. Okay, I know what they are. What how do you do? Guys, pick a number that you think is high. And if you got 834 for a blood glucose, fasting blood glucose, almost a 20-hour fast, 834 was my fasting blood glucose. I should have been dead. I should have been in a coma. I should have been at the least hospitalized. Oh, and my A1C, which is an exponential number, was 18.1. So with an 834 and 18.1, I should have been dead. God spared me for a reason. And I believe part of it, the reason is because I'm here to help save others. There's no other way around it. But they go, okay, well, I've already been here before, right? Remember, I'm remembering back in 2019. This is 2024. And so I know I'm going to do something. And I'm not going to take any drugs. I've already been down that road. But now this is severe. This is life-threatening. I should have, anyway. So I had found on, of all things, TikTok, another platform, a guy by the name of Dr. Kenny. Now, I'd seen a bunch of other people talking about this kind of stuff, but Dr. Kenny just resonated with me because of the science. And now I understand I have degrees in some science. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional. I did coach swimming for 17 years, and I have a great knowledge of kinesiology, sports medicine, anatomy, kinesiology, biomechanics, chemistry, that kind of stuff. I have a great knowledge of that. But he was talking about reversing type 2 diabetes, and I already understood the whole process having gone through the other program. But this protocol that he was talking about was all natural. Good. That's a point, right? I mean, if you're going to do something, do you want to ask your doctor if it's right for you? Like a lot of your friends and maybe even you are doing, ask your friends, ask your doctor if it's right for you, ask your doctor if it's right for you, right? Or would you rather have something natural? No, natural, right? What about if you're going to do something, if you're going to follow a protocol, would you want it backed by science or just ask your doctor if it's right for you? Yeah. So this protocol that I saw and he talked about it, and I've now since learned, is scientifically backed. And how do I know it's scientifically backed? Well, one, it's in the PDR.net. Now, what the heck is the PDR? What's the PDR.net? What? Well, my dad was a doctor. He graduated from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila in the Philippines. He came to the States in 1947 by way of San Francisco, Sioux Falls, Peoria. Met my mom, and I was born there. I'm the oldest of 10, by the way. And we were raised first time we lived in was Iroquois, South Dakota. And our dad, imagine that I'm old. I'm 73, right? I'm not really old. I don't feel old at all, but chronologically, I'm 73. My dad had the clinic in the house. My dad did house calls, and I'm the oldest. Guess who was on the trips with my dad? Me, because I'm out in the front yard or out in the barnyard distracting what's going on in the bedroom while my dad was working. And on the desk, my dad's desk, and I actually have his desk, and there's a couple of his other things, his lamp and things, but he had a big book called the PDR. It was a physician's desk reference. It had all the drugs that were available to him in the day. Now, so I know what the PDR is. Well, this protocol, the protocol that Dr. Kenny was talking about that I follow and I'm on now, and others and hundreds and thousands of people are on now, that's natural, has 5 patents, is in the PDR and has no side effects. Zero, no side effects, none, and no negative interactions. I double dog dare you to look up in the PDR net any prescriptions you're taking. Look them all up. It's your responsibility. I mean, somebody gave them to you, prescribed them to you for one of those symptoms. Because let me ask you this. Is anybody on high blood pressure medicine? Anybody? Are you treating the symptoms? Or have you eliminated the root cause? Yeah. You're just the symptoms, right? Only the symptoms, not the root cause. So you're spending money to maybe be comfortable, maybe, but you haven't fixed it. You see what I'm saying? You're paying money. For example, would you pay money on a tire that has a hole in it and keep throwing money at it and never fix it, never get rid of it, never get a new one? Does that make any sense at all? No, it doesn't. How many prescriptions are you on that don't fix anything? Only treat the symptoms. Only treat the symptoms. Only treat the buttons on the dandelion. They're only doing this whole thing over here. They're only treating the symptoms like the dandelion. You're not getting to the root cause. Well, there's high blood pressure. That's one. What about if you're a type 2 diabetic? What about medication for heart disease, migraines, about arthritis, fatty liver, ED, on and on, all the itises. You know, the one thing they'll say, there'll never be a shortage of ibuprofen. That's kind of one thing. But anyway, you haven't gotten to the root cause. What would happen if they actually had, think about this, if there was actually a way to get rid of insulin resistance, what would happen to the pharmaceutical companies? If they could get rid, if they could, how much would it cost them? It'd cost their whole industry, wouldn't it? I mean, healthcare isn't healthcare, is it? Are you healthy when you need it? You're sick. So one of the things about, go to the PDR and look up any of your prescriptions, especially if you're on the shot, because a lot of those have what's called a black box warning. You people that are type 2 diabetics on the one thing that starts with an M, look that up. Black box warning. You know what's also a black box warning is a coffin. That means that they can cause the C disease. That means it can cause all kinds of other diseases in your body. The PDR, look up your prescriptions. But remember I said, well, I wanted to make sure that it was scientifically backed. Well, this protocol that we're on was studied at the University of Sydney in Australia. You got to go, who cares? Well, the world does, because the University of Sydney is the home where the glycemic index was created. Now, that's a measure, how you measure blood sugar, okay? And there's also glycemic load, but that's a little bit more in the weeds for technical geeks like me that like that kind of stuff. But what they showed was that this protocol, the protocol that I'm on, remember I was at 834, reduces blood insulin levels by 27%, right there. University of Sydney. Now that's blood glucose. What goes lower? What goes lower? The lower things are fat. See, fat doesn't hardly move it. Protein hardly moves it. But sugar does. And what's the sugar? Almost everything. Now, you know, there's high fructose corn syrup. That started in 1973. Did you know that the growth in the last 40 years is almost 4,000%? And it's growing. I just read the research today, the market research, that it's growing at a rate of about 3% a year. So it's keeping up with your pay raises, I guess. And it's used in everything. But that's not even the worst of them. So it's back. Research says this works. For what? Insulin resistance, what I just talked about, right? Also, it's in the PDR. I just told you about that. But, where else would be a great place? What's the number one killer in the world? What's the number one killer in the world? Anybody? Yeah, the number one killer in the world is heart disease, cardiovascular diseases. Are you with me on that? Cardiovascular diseases is the number one. Number two is the C. Number three is blood diabetes. All right. But let's see what the Cleveland Clinic. Have you heard of the Cleveland Clinic? It's the number one heart hospital, cardiac hospital in America and probably the world. I don't know who's better than them. But they did a clinical trial. They did clinical research on the protocol that we're on. And it says, let me read this to you. I'm going to quote, such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Did you hear that? If this was available on a population basis, I mean, it would make it available to everybody. It would potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescriptions. Decrease the need? Boy, you know who would not like that? The guys that are selling you all this other stuff. Guys that are selling you all the other stuff. How much are you worth to them on a monthly basis? How much would you save if you didn't have all of those copays? How much better would you feel if you didn't have to take a drug for this, to take care of the drug for that, to take care of the drug because this one and the drug for that? How much better would you feel if you didn't have to take all of those pills, all of those shots? See, and some of you people ask your doctor if it's right for you, ask your doctor if it's right for you. The people that are stabbing themselves with all these shots, and people, the pharmaceutical companies are chopping at the bit because they're going to make $1 trillion or so this year, I've heard. Isn't there one company that's been around for 125 years and has yet to cure a disease? They just keep coming up with more pills. Look, there's a symptom, we got a pill for that, we got a shot for that. So we're talking about, and everybody knows and talks about GLP-1. I didn't know that everybody went to biology in chemistry class. I had no idea everybody knew what GLP was and is and all that stuff. But again, remember I said natural versus the chemical? This is out of BYU. BYU, the number one center for this. GLP-1 is increased by 60% naturally. That's research by Dr. Benjamin Bickman. He's a leading source in the world, and one of his books is Why We Get Sick. Buy this and read it, guys. You need to know that. And another one you need to look and start reading is Metabolic by Dr. Lustwick. Guys, this is a natural way to do it, and it's a lot less expensive, and you don't have to stab yourself or have a black box warning about the medication. Now, you may think I'm just blowing smoke, but I just kind of spin through a couple people that have already been success stories. And if I could get Andre on, she's got a great story. In 90 days, she's dropped weight, and oh my gosh, the things that have happened to her and her family. Let me just read this. Reverse type 2 diabetes went from 25 pills a day, 8 of which were blood pressure, to only 4. I think he's now down to 2. Lost 103 pounds in 6 months, naturally, not counting carbs, not doing some silly, stupid diet, not doing this, not doing that, just drinking 2 teas and a fiber matrix. A1C went from 8.8 to 5.7 in 90 days. Guys, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these shots. People tell us every day things that they're going, it doesn't even look the same person, does it? So, here's a year apart. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's me again. Oh, my blood glucose, I went from 834 to 4 hours after a meal a couple weeks ago, 4 hours after a meal to 90. No meds. I'm on no meds, zero meds of any kind for anything. So that's the story. I'm sticking with it. I wish I could get Andrea on here. Gosh, I love her because she's so good. And she's a partner. But the whole thing is, guys, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If you were a genius or smart or just plain lucky, and you came up with a formula that you could get patented so that nobody could steal it from you, drug companies couldn't get it from you, nobody can make it, it's unique to you in the world, and you could take care of all of these and more, right? And it was simple to use as making a tea in the morning, a tea at midday, and then drinking a fiber matrix with your largest meal. If you could do that, if you could create that, and you could guarantee that it'll work if someone follows the protocol, and I'll tell you what the protocol is in a minute, but if they follow the protocol, you would guarantee 100% money back on 90 days because you could prove it with their blood drawn by their own doctor that it worked. So it was researched and clinically proven with dozens of clinical trials that it was patented. Nobody else could make it. You can have a money-back guarantee. It's listed in the PDR with no side effects, no negative interactions, effective in reversing the major chronic diseases of our day, which is we've eaten ourselves into this, guys. That's a whole nother discussion. Would you keep that quiet? Would you just keep it a secret, not tell anybody? Yeah, not me either. I'm living proof. I'm here for a reason. People that are on our team, we are dedicated. We're going to reverse type 2 diabetes in 1 million people this year. That's our purpose. That's our drive. And we know it works. The company, the manufacturer, gives us a 90-day money-back guarantee. Our manufacturer is unique to us. They have full control of everything. We are smart. They're brilliant. We're able to have our manufacturing facilities and our distribution facilities such that we are free of worry of the tariffs even. We are free of worry of our supplies. We have third-party certification for mold, mildew, chemicals, and everything else like that as well. They take care of that. I don't have to worry about shipping. I don't have to worry about orders and that type of thing. They take care of all of that back office stuff. But I'm going back to you. If you had a company like that behind you, if you had the knowledge that you created this, you have the distribution, you have the manufacturing all in tow, it's in the PDR, you're having ongoing clinical trials and research done, you've got thousands of people every day, medical professionals, doctors, oncologists, entomologists, nurses, chiropractors, everybody coming in wanting this product because they are able to help their customers, help their patients, help their clients, help their friends, their neighbors in ways they never could do before with anything they've done. You wouldn't keep it quiet either, would you? You would share this, wouldn't you? But I have a question. If you also had a time machine, if you had all of this, you had this product and it was condensed into just a couple of little packages, If you had this and it could do all that, and you had a time machine, who would you go back and save? Who could you have saved with this? Who would have you gone back to? Dad, for me. My son, triple umbilical cord wrap and like a femur. Got one of my best buddies, Ted and Phil. Love those guys. Yeah, so those guys. Couldn't save any of them, but I can help you save yours. The airline gives us great instructions. They say in the unlikely event of loss in cabin pressure, a mask will fall down. Put it over your mouth and nose and breathe first because you can't save anybody else if you can't save yourself. So if you would like to know more about the protocol and how it works, because it does, there's two things I can do for you. One, if you'll send me a message and say link, L-I-N-K, send me the message, say link, I will get you the link to our science call. We have a science call every Tuesday. Every Tuesday evening, I will get you a link to the science call if you send me the link. If you want the protocol, just message me protocol. And if you feel compelled and you want to help save the world, if you want to help your family and yourself stop suffering, send me a message and say team. Because we're looking for people that want to help stop the suffering because of insulin resistance, all the chronic metabolic diseases. So guys, I appreciate your time tonight. I wish you well. Feel free to research everything I talked about tonight. I'll be back again. I promise I'll get with Andrea because I miss her and others. So thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll look at your messages. I'll look to try to respond to the messages in here too as well. So thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye now.